Look at the conditions, guys. Thick fog permeating into the forest. It's just a woodland photographer's dream. Oh, we're gonna have a cracking day today, guys. So welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm back in Thieves Wood. So it's the same woodland that I did my first ever vlog in. I'll put the link up for you to go and watch it if you haven't seen it before. And last time we were here we had snow and fog, and that was just even doubly perfect if I'm honest. But today we've just got fog, which is fine. It's just a new perspective on this woodland, so that's good. We're going to get some cracking shots today, and I've already said that, but I really think we are. And speaking of which, I think I found my first composition. So I'm literally like 100 metres from the car park with the road going past, so apologies if you can hear the traffic. But I walked down this path and I just noticed this sort of composition straight away. So basically, well, obviously we've got the path in the image, and what I really liked about this is just this silver birch that's leaning across the path over there. And it's just it's as simple as that. It's just a pleasing image. The path acts as a leading line, and the silver birch just gives a bit of interest to the image, I think. And then you've got the other sort of trees on the other side of the path just leading towards that silver birch, so kind of arching over this path, which is really nice, kind of framing it. And the fog, if there was no fog here, it just wouldn't work. It would just be a bit boring. But the fog really gives this photo a sense of mystery. So it's essentially as if I'm walking down this path, and it's what I felt when I walked down this path. What is down there? It's a bit creepy, but it's also very mystical, and that's what the fog does. It really adds an element of mysticism to your photos. So yeah, that is as simple as that. Settings wise are irrelevant really, they're just to get the correct exposure. I've got my live histogram up just to check that I'm not overexposing any of the highlights, because I know with fog sometimes the highlights can be a little bit blown out because I've got the sky in there, but actually it's not, and I think it's going to add the brightness in the sky, because they're not overexposed, it's going to add a nice bit of depth to the image. So it is as simple as that. I'm going to take this photo, put it up for you to see, and we're going to head off to find some I'm going to have a look around this woodland for some new compositions that I maybe haven't seen before. And then at the end I'm going to head back up to that beach woodland if it's still foggy. If you watch my first vlog even, you'll see that I went there in the snow and I got a really nice panoramic. So I might head back there and try and get another panoramic just in the fog. I've already taken photos there before and they've always come out really nice. So that's the aim for the end of this video. But before that, I want to go and check out some new places. So let's go! You know, if someone was to say to me, what's your biggest pet peeve? It would be this. Absolutely disgusting. Why pick up your dog poo and put it in a bag if you're going to throw it on the floor? It never fails to surprise me. I wouldn't even say it was a pet peeve, I'd say it was more of a absolute anger-fueled annoyance, if that makes any sense. It just doesn't make sense to put something that's gonna decompose naturally. Yes, you shouldn't leave it on the path for people to stand in, but it doesn't make sense to put something that's gonna decompose naturally in a bag that's gonna be there for thousands of years, well, however many years, and then throw it back on the ground. It just doesn't make sense. So I don't ever like preaching, but I'm gonna preach. Don't do it! Just don't do it! It's so annoying. And it just ruins people's walks as well. It ruins the beauty of nature, just seeing a plastic bag hung up in a tree with dog poo in it. Anyway, onwards. I'm boiling. Absolutely boiling. I've had to take my hat and gloves off. And funnily enough, I said the exact same thing when I was last here taking a photo of this bad boy behind me. So, if you saw my first vlog, again I'll link it up there for you to go and watch because well, the conditions are amazing. So I took a photo of this tree here. I put a picture up for you to have a look at. And my dad actually named it for me. He suggested the name Giant's Walking Stick, which I think is really, really apt for this because of that branch that's broken and leaning on the tree. It's like a big giant's coming, propped it up whilst he goes to have a nice sit down somewhere in the woods. And I walked past it and I thought, you know what, I'll have a look, see if I can get a good photo of this in the fog. And it doesn't really work for me. It might sound weird, but for me, that photo there has to be cemented in snow and fog. And that's why I'm going to leave it today. You don't always have to take photos. you can leave it behind. But having a look at that just now, I just didn't really think it worked. Some other people might think it works, but I just don't. And that's due to the fact that photography is very, very subjective. I'm struggling a little bit to find compositions, even though we've got these amazing conditions. So I'm actually going to head to a spot that I've photographed before, and I'll keep an eye out for new compositions. And we'll just see what I can find. Absolutely typical, isn't it? So you know how I was talking about how my pet peeve is people putting dog poo in a bag and then throw it on the floor? Well, as I was walking to this location here, I trod in a great big pile of dog poo. Oh, honestly. I mean, it can't be karma because I wasn't doing anything wrong in the first place. Oh well, it'll come off. It's not the end of the world. So, anyway, look behind me. I'll move out the frame for you, hang on. This is my next photo. It's these trees here, these pine trees. Now I've taken a photo of this before in the fog and I like the photo, but there's just something that I wasn't overly keen on. So that's why I've come back here. I want to try and better that photo. I'll put it up for you to have a quick look at. And I like it, but there's something I just want to better about it. I don't even know what it is, so I can't explain it. I don't know if you've ever had that feeling if you're a photographer, where you know the photo's a pretty decent photo and people will probably go think it's nice, you know, but you as the artist of that photo, I was talking about myself there, you know, you just don't, there's just something not right. So that's when it's always better to come and better it, if that makes sense. Unlike the Giant's Walking Stick I was talking about earlier, this really works in the fog, this shot. So essentially what I really like is just the sort of, wait, oh, there's a siren going off now, whoa. They found me. That's like a cliche, isn't it? Whenever a siren goes off and you're like with people or just, well, I'm not with people here, but you go, oh, they found me, they found you. Enough chit chat. I'll talk about the shot when I've set up. Oh, Barnet's getting long. Can't wait for the barber's to open to get this mullet chopped off. Actually, it's more of a bowl haircut, isn't it? Oh well, not the only one in this situation, so I can't complain. Right, onto this image, and the reason I really like this scene is just because of the way that these pine trees here are separated from the rest of this forest in a bit of a clearing. Now, Thieves Wood is a plantation woodland, and I think it's the Forestry Commission. They come in, fell the trees, plant new ones, and use the wood for, I don't know what, manufacturing furniture, I'm guessing, I don't know, buildings. And then they replant the trees, and then however long it takes them to grow up, they'll do it again. They go full circle. But for whatever reason, they've left these pine trees behind me in a bit of a clearing. And I just want to say thank you, Forestry Commission, for giving me this photographic opportunity. Now, what I was talking about earlier, where the fact that I've been here before, taken a photo of this in the fog, and I wasn't overly happy with it. I think I found out the reason why. Essentially, I didn't include the edges of the forest in the photo. I just had the picture of these pine trees, and it looks all right. But I think including the edges of the forest will just provide a bit of emphasis to these trees here. It'll give the image a bit more oomph, and it will also place us in the scene. So the photo I took before, these trees could be anywhere. Could be on their own, on the top of a hill, I suppose, in the fog. But if I put the edges of the forest in, you'll know that they're in their own clearing, which makes them feel special in a way, I suppose. Now, the way I think I can capture this image nicely is to do a panoramic. And when I was last here, I didn't know how to do a panoramic, and I've since learned how to do one, and it's actually incredibly simple. So I thought I'd just talk you guys through it if you're not sure about it, and hopefully you can go out and do your own panoramics in the future. Right, first things first is you want to set up your tripod and get it as level as possible. Now this will just help, as he's panning round, will help your editing software to stitch the photos together nicely, because you won't have a photo, it won't be going like this, if you know what I mean, the photos. I'm quite lucky, I've got a electronic gyroscope in my camera as well, which really helps to get that leveling on point. And I mean, Lightroom or whatever software you're using, I use Lightroom, and I've noticed that it can correct, jumpy images quite well, but it just means you probably have to crop in a little bit, which I don't necessarily want to do. So I think it's better to get it right in camera if you can. So once you've got your camera on top, you put whatever lens you're using on. I've got a 35mm prime. That's irrelevant really, it's just the lens I want to use for this photo. Set your settings so you get the exposure you want, and then the important thing is not to change the settings throughout all of your images. So it's good to have it on manual mode instead of like aperture priority or something like that, because the settings will be the same all the way through, and again that will help your editing software to stitch the photos together. One more thing, make sure your focus point is the same throughout as well, because otherwise you'll have focus going all over the place. So I focused on a tree here, one of these trees, so it's hard to point, there you go, it's that one there. And then I've moved my camera back to the left. Now I'm going to take my photos. So I'm going left to right. You can go right to left if you want, but I just feel like left to right is more natural. It's the same like if you're reading a book, you go left to right. If you're watching a play, the lead act comes in from the left, the hero comes in from the left and exits on the right. So I'm going to take that image, number one, and then I'm going to move it to the right, and just make sure when you move your camera, when you're doing a panoramic, you overlap your next image with part of the image before, if that makes sense. Maybe by about a third of an image. Because if you don't, Lightroom or whatever editing software you're using is not going to know, where that last photo ended. It's not going to be able to magic up part of the image. So you just need to overlap it, and it will stitch together nicely like that. Now I've made sure not to overexpose my highlights as well, so I've got my live histogram up just telling me that it's nicely exposed. In fog, or if you haven't got loads of fog like I've got now, it can be good to push your highlights to the right. It just helps create the illusion of a bit more fog, but I don't need to do that today because it's thick with it. Just a couple more. Oh, it fell over then. Right, I think that's done. The annoying thing is that you can't see the final image in your camera, on the back of your camera. You have to wait till you go into Lightroom and stitch it together. But, I don't think I need to worry too much because this is a nice scene. All you need to do now is when you go into Lightroom, you need to select all your images. So all your images that are going to make up this panoramic. And then you're going to right click on them and then click Photo Merge. Then go to Panoramic, and then it'll pretty much do it all from there. And that is that. Very simple. So I'm gonna leave you guys today. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and you've learnt something, and I've been able to help you out with your panoramics. I'm actually going to walk around for a bit longer now, and if I do get any more photos, I'll put them up for you to have a look at. But from a very foggy Thieves Wood, stay safe and see you later.